I am super stoked today, and here's why. I just got my Sphinx Arms 9mm SDP. So I've got about 125 rounds or so through this thing, and let me tell you, this gun shoots like a dream. Everything is tight, smooth, crisp, finished. This is truly one of the nicest combat handguns that I've found that's in a reasonable price range. Now, when I say reasonable price range, I think these can be had for just slightly north of $1,000, all the way up to about $1,500, depending on availability. So, this is the Sphinx Arms SDP, which is imported by Chris, USA. It took me a little while to find this, but once again, Bullseye Firearms came through for me. They located one for me, and they located a little bit of a special model, which is what I was really looking for. And I'll tell you guys about what makes this particular model a little bit different from the normal, what most of you are seeing out there, which are the Sphinx Arms SDP Alpha series. So this particular model is the Sphinx Arms SDP Compact Black Duty. So this differs from the most common models that we're seeing in just a couple of different ways. One, on the typical Alpha series, what you see is this handgun is divided into three major components: the slide, the upper frame, and the lower frame. On the Alpha series, the slide is steel, the upper frame is aluminum, and the lower frame is polymer. The Alpha series also has the 15 round capacity. So this, the Duty Black, has a little bit longer, the overall height is a little bit longer, which makes the magazine a 17 round capacity. Also, this has the steel slide and the anodized aluminum upper and lower frames. So I would say, if you're thinking about purchasing this handgun, there's a couple of things you should know. Number one, don't let the term compact fool you. This is a fairly large handgun. In fact, it's probably a little bit bigger than the Glock 19, Glock 23, and it is actually pretty heavy. I would suspect that it's maybe 15-20% heavier as well. But what you get in exchange for that weight is an extremely smooth shooting gun. Couple other things about this gun that I really like: the sights on it. It's the blacked out rear sight, and then the white dot on the front sight makes it really easy to focus on that front sight when you're doing close range kind of defensive handgun work. Everything is crisp. I've got about 275, 280 rounds through it now, including 40 rounds of the defensive rounds I carry. Obviously, it hasn't had a hiccup yet. You wouldn't expect that. Notice this magazine, just how smooth the magazine slides in and out, and how it's loose. It slides in and out easily, but there's very little play in it. Everything is just really well fitted on this handgun. So you can see the decocking lever is here, and it's nice and crisp and positive. If you've just chambered around and you're at a full cock and you use the decocker, it'll drop to this kind of half cock position. And in that half cock position, it's a really nice smooth pull for your double action trigger pull. The single action trigger pull is really nice. And the reset, very crisp. A couple other things just to know if you're thinking about purchasing one of these is the holster availability is pretty scarce. So far, I've only found a couple of manufacturers that make holsters for it. Bravo Concealment, G-Code, and there's one other, the name escapes me right now. However, the lead times from all those holster makers are running like 6, some of them even 8 to 10 weeks right now. So, unfortunately, it'll be a while before I'm carrying this as my daily carry weapon. So far, I purchased one extra magazine for this handgun. I paid just a little over $50 for it, which is kind of expensive for a spare magazine, There may be other sources for them, but at this point, the only source that I found for magazines is through Chris USA for the factory magazines for it, and they are kind of expensive. This gun just feels like it was made by shooters for shooters. The finishing, the detail work on it, and then the tolerances are just, it's just really well designed. The bore axis of the barrel sits nice and low in the frame, so it makes the recoil very controllable on it. It's just really a pleasure to shoot.
I bring round that chariot. 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 My Lord, my God, you ain't failed me yet.
Fucking fantastic handgun.